It's one thing to rage and shout at those who hate us, but it doesn't do a lot of good. It doesn't change much. It might change a little, but not a lot. What we need to do is educate people. Show those that would hate us that we are human, that we have lives, that we have families, values and beliefs. Show them who we are. Harvey Milk believed that if we came out, it would be harder for them to hate us, because the haters could now have a face to the name.
And we are saying that it is okay to live in a society where young people kill themselves because they are born different. This is not okay. Personally, I want to live in a society that respects and celebrates difference. Let's make this change. Thank you very much.
My name's Hannah and I'm directing a documentary on transgender discrimination with my crew, but basically what happened when we look back on the structure of it, we realised we're going about it the wrong way, because these people that we're interviewing, I know them and they're my friends. So I've been involved with the queer community for about 4 years, and something that's really stood out to me over that time is the difference how people see gay people as opposed to how they see transgender people, and we really want to highlight that.
My name is Dylan Morris and I am 19 years old and I am a drag queen.
I'm Mikey James. I'm 19. I'm going to be 20 in a couple of months.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm 20 years old now, turning 21.
It's actually an interesting story.
I think I started to realise pretty early on that there was something different about me.
I found that when I was about 2 years old or so is when I first realised that something was wrong.
When I was younger, like way younger, I was obsessed with the black and white TV show of the Addams Family. Morticia Addams was a big influence. I used to grab my mother's black 90s and scoot around the house as if I was Morticia. And then from there, just like in school really, whenever there was a chance to play dress ups, I picked a dress and flaunted it, and in high school it kind of progressed and I started playing with makeup and wigs, and then after high school I went straight to the Court Hotel, which does Amateur Wednesdays, started performing, and over the past year and a half, 2 years, it's just kind of picked up. And
So being closely linked to the queer community didn't mean that I knew a lot about transgender people until a close friend of mine, Michelle, came out to me in 2009. So even though I'm not transgender myself, this issue feels very personal to me because it directly affects people that I love, and I wanted to give people like that a chance to tell their stories in this documentary.
Transgender is the umbrella term for everyone who is transsexual, transgender, genderqueer and otherwise sex or gender diverse. It refers to people usually whose gender identity doesn't match the sex they were assigned at birth.
I kept asking my mum why I was not born a girl like her and Lucy, my sister. But and you know, whenever she was out of the house, I'd grab steal all of her dresses and all my sister's dresses and put them on in her high heels and walk around in makeup. And I was going to be a female fashion designer / model at the same time when I was a kid, instead of being a fireman or something like that. But eventually she got married to my stepdad, and he sort of physically and emotionally beat that out of me. So I kind of had to put that away until I was around 15, which is when I started to realize again. But even then, it wasn't okay around the house, and I'd have to sneak in at like 1 in the morning so that he wouldn't notice, even though he was awake at 1 in the morning because he never really slept. But I'd have to make sure that I was never found out, and so I ended up drilling the hole out of my bedroom window lock so that I could sneak in through the windows and out and such. But
I made a lot of accounts online as a guy and started to talk to people, and it just became really, really obvious that that's what I was comfortable with. And in April of year 10, so the year I was 14, turning 15, I cut all my hair off and basically just showed up at school the next week and was like, I want you to call me Michael now, and I want you to call me he. And that was my my transition. So.
Yes, I am a male, and I know that I'm a male, and I am a drag queen. Although within the drag community, it's a force of habit that we just call each other's, like her, like she did this, or she did that, or she looks good like this, and she's being a girl, and it's just a force of habit. But I'm a male, and I identify as male even when in drag.
Eventually, once I finally just had a bit of a show off and just said, look, this is not okay, this is who I am, when I was 17, he eventually left the marriage of my mum, and of course that nearly destroyed her, and she almost killed herself too, but she actually thanks me to this day for making him leave.
LGBTI young people represent 40% of the youth homeless population, even though they only represent 10% of the general youth population, and that's for overall LGBTI young people, and for trans young people those rates are suspected to be even higher.
I think it's definitely had an impact on my emotional well-being. I've had depression for a long time, clinical depression, so I can't say with any certainty that I wouldn't still be a little bit messed up if I wasn't trans. But there's, you know, the combination of knowing that I'm never going to be what I consider to be right. You know, I'm never going to be in a state that I'm comfortable with, which is always weighing over my head. There's the fact that, you know, I might never find someone who will love me because so many people aren't willing to open their mind and accept that you can be a guy without, you know, strictly needing to fit all these qualities.
The point that everyone seems to think that trans is just a phase that you go through, and I have to actually kind of reflect that, because for a lot of people it is a phase, and because I've known quite a few people who do just for a week and then you have to go back. But I find that it's kind of just no way out. I guess like when I first came out, it took me 2 hours to get ready every day, and then even then I'd look rubbish, and everyone just stares at you, and you can't go anywhere without worrying about, oh, is my voice up, or is my makeup okay, or do I have stubble now, or, you know, something like that. And it feels kind of like peeling off a Band-Aid. You have to take it really, really slow, and it just never seems that you can just, because obviously if you do, then it hurts. Of course, instead of self-hurting, it's kind of just hurt from everyone else, because if you don't take your time with it, then you get beat up.
There were people that used to push me against walls and tell me that they were going to prove to me that I was a girl, the implication being bisexually assaulting me. There were people that had the mentality, oh, if you're a guy, we can beat you up, we can bash you, which is ridiculous because I'm 5'4" and weigh about 55 kilos and, you know, wouldn't be able to hold my own if it was a one-on-one, let alone a whole group of guys starting on me at once.
In recent research from Victoria, both by Beyond Blue and the Australian Research Centre for Sex, Health and Societies, writing themselves in research, has found a direct link between experiencing discrimination and higher rates of mental health issues, especially suicide attempts. So it is basically a direct result of experiencing that level of discrimination, and the isolation that that discrimination can cause has a directly negative impact on people's mental health and well-being, and can cause people to have suicidal thoughts. So yeah, there's more of a body of research growing that shows that link between discrimination and suicide in the LGBTI population, but that's certainly been suspected for years, but we're really starting to see some of that evidence come through in research bodies now.
If I wasn't able to do drag, I think I would lose more than being able to express myself. I think I would lose part of who I am, and just I would lose the confidence and the ability to do the things that I do when I'm Delvira, because she can do so much more than what Dylan can.
Trans young people, whilst again there's not as much research as we would like out there about it, there's certainly enough to tell us that the rates of suicidal ideation, self-harm, suicide attempts and other mental health issues like depression and anxiety are experienced at far higher rates than any other parts of the youth population.
My homophobic father, when I came out, it took him a while to come around with that, but came around eventually. But when he found out that I dressed up as a woman, he couldn't even look at me. And from that point, he's come to see my shows and stuff, which shows such like a growth in him, and emotionally it makes me feel proud that my father has put in the effort to support what I do.
Something that really stood out to me when I was shooting it was how much deeper the issues of transgender discrimination go, more than I even knew. 41% of transgender people attempt suicide, and that is not okay. There's a lot of information out there about queer suicide and those sort of things, but there isn't enough about trans, and the thought that I could have lost my friends because of that scares me.
Before I'd finally come out and gone full time, it kind of felt like being a ghost. You feel that your body isn't a part of you, that you yourself is up here, and this is just a vessel that walks around like a puppet on strings. I guess it kind of explains, like, you can own your room, but it's not a part of you. It's yours, but it's not you. The same way that your body is yours, but it's not you. And so if you're already a ghost, then why would you mind if you died?
I'm not going to be happy with the way things are until I can walk down the street at night and feel safe knowing that some guy isn't going to assault me to try and prove to me that I'm a girl, you know, or until I can hit on someone in a bar and not have to worry that a girl's going to accuse me of being a molester because my plumbing's different, or that a gay guy is going to accuse me of trying to secretly convert him for the, you know, the same reason. The way things are right now is pretty much abominable, and I think we have a massive, massive way to go until trans people are considered of equal status culturally and legally as cisgender people.